If you're sick of getting like 20 views on your TikTok posts where you're posting your spiciest scenes and you're censoring them in all of the ways that all of these big influencers are telling you to do it, and they're telling you that you're gonna get 1 billion views and you're gonna make $1 million and you're gonna get a traditional book deal and you're gonna get a movie and Ryan Gosling is gonna play the lead, but you're still getting 20 views and you don't have Ryan Gosling in your phone book, maybe you should listen to advice that applies to a lot more people. Going viral doesn't have to be hard, but I'm gonna recommend that you stop posting your spicy content no matter how much you censor it. And I'm not just saying this as a rando on the internet. I am Kate, and I have helped over 3,000 authors sell more books, especially romance books, using TikTok and using Reels and Facebook and all of that. And I literally sell my own books using the strategies that I talk about. And I'm telling you, my books are real spicy. So before we go into the actual how, let's talk about the problem with spice from a TikTok perspective. If you're not aware, the United States just made a deal and finally had US companies kind of join together and buy 80% of the US TikTok services from ByteDance, the company in China that originally owned TikTok. This has been a deal that has been a long time coming. Ever since 2022, the US government has been trying to ban TikTok in the US because it's owned by a company in China, and they are, talking about data protection or protecting the children, and protecting the children's delicate eyes from seeing horrible, horrible PG-13 things, despite it being a 13 and up app, has been one of the main selling points, or at least was originally one of the main selling points of making it a US app, making sure that it's owned by a US company. So what did TikTok do as a response to try to not be banned, to try to not have to sell to a US company? They started making spicy content extremely hard to view. Anything that looked even slightly like it could be spicy book talk content was getting banned. If a lot of people were using a specific audio on TikTok and posting spicy censored scenes with it, where they would just censor the words of all of the body parts, then guess what? TikTok would shadow ban not just that video or that account user, they would start to shadow ban the sound so that other people using it for more innocent book talk content would then get shadow banned. Their content would be shadow banned because they were using an audio where a lot of people were using it to try to get around the rules and post spicy scenes, or people who wouldn't even try to get around the rules. They would just post uncensored, explicit scenes on an app where we know there are, in fact, children. There are 13, 14, 15-year-olds. Hell, we know there are 8-year-olds, even though there's not supposed to be. And we know that TikTok for years has been trying to get rid of any spicy content. So if you are trying your best to censor spicy scenes and then post those, you're going to have some issues. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but eventually you're going to run into an issue because their censorship is getting so strict. But marketing using spice isn't just a problem on TikTok or on Instagram or on Facebook or on YouTube. It's not just a problem on the platforms, it's also a problem on the main selling platforms for books. The main one is Amazon and its KDP services, Kindle Direct Publishing Services, where you can publish your books through Amazon. Most of you watching my videos are already aware of this service and already use it or have used it in the past. And if your book is in Kindle Unlimited, you might be aware that people can go in and read your book and you get paid per page read. So if 1,000 people download your book, that will affect your rank, but if only 200 people actually read the pages on the book, that's what's going to affect your income when they download it with Kindle Unlimited versus like paying the money to buy it, right? But when you market using spicy scenes, people on TikTok are going to comment and ask what chapter that scene is in. They are not asking so that they can say, okay, well, I'm gonna read and then I'm so excited for this spicy scene that's in chapter 45 of a 50 chapter book. That's not what they're asking for. They are asking so they can skip to that scene and just specifically read that scene. And this triggers something on the Amazon algorithm, on the Kindle algorithm, when people en masse when thousands of people from a super viral video are opening the book, skipping almost all the way to the end, having it open for 5 minutes, and then closing and returning the book. When people do this, Amazon is going to see it as Kindle fraud, and they are going to take away your income for that. You are going to be punished for the behavior of your legitimate readers. And Amazon doesn't just say, okay, well, these reads are from someone who skipped, these reads are from someone who skipped forward, we're gonna take away the specific ones. No, they take away 50% of your book income. So if you sell $5,000 and make $5,000 in royalty one month, and $1,000 of that, or even $500 of that, was from people skipping forward to read this spicy scene way at the end of the book, then Amazon is not going to just take away that $500. They are going to take away $2,500 of that, which is not technically allowed, and you can fight it, but it takes expensive lawyers and months of your time in order to do that, which they know that most people won't do. So when you market only using spicy scenes, you are running the risk of losing massive amounts of your income like that. But there is a way to market books better and make more money, and it's what I do, and it keeps people from skipping forward because it gets them emotionally invested in the characters and the book, not just emotionally invested in the climax of the book, as it were. If you want to learn exact detailed strategy on how to do it, make sure to check out the link in the description. I have a bundle now where you can get all of my courses all at once for 45% off. And these are the courses that have helped literally thousands of authors sell more books using TikTok and not using a lot of time, so they can spend most of their time writing. So let's talk about finding scenes that actually sell that also won't get you banned. And if you write erotica, I promise you, you can still find this content, because most books that are in some sort of romance category are still going to have the emotional aspects of it. So how do we find these scenes? Well, what we're gonna do is we're going to look for scenes within our books that evoke the feeling of insecurity, because people feel insecure and get extremely attached to things very, very quickly. And when people feel insecure about a character in a book, or when we evoke insecurity in someone else over a character in a book, they are going to want to know how that character got to that point and how that situation resolves. They are going to be rooting for that character to win, for everything to go well for that character. So this can be scenes like rejected mates, especially common in like werewolf and Omegaverse books. Rejected mate scenes work really, really, really well to sell a lot of books, and that's why a lot of pay-per-chapter apps specifically use that rejected mates trope. You can also just use like general rejection scenes, and it doesn't have to be a woman getting rejected by a man, right? It can be someone getting rejected for a job they were really excited about because the media found out that she's dating this superstar and, you know, her job doesn't really want all that heat on them. So the job rejects her about that, and now she's upset and frustrated and insecure about that. It can also be scenes where a character feels lonely, where they feel like they don't have anyone in their life, where they don't have friends, and they're kind of putting themselves out there. One scene that worked really, really well for one of my clients was not a romance scene in her Why Choose Romance book. So there was a lot to choose from, considering it was Why Choose and there were multiple love interests. But the scene that sold really, really well and that constantly went viral was when the main character, in this big mansion of her estranged uncle that she's never met, he invites her to live with him, and she's sitting down for dinner and she's alone. And so instead of, you know, accepting this loneliness, she goes into the kitchen and asks the staff if she can hang out and eat with them instead of being all by herself. And then it doesn't resolve the scene. You never want to resolve the scene because then people lose interest. In fact, I had a video that went incredibly viral because it used that fear of rejection and it hit on it so strongly. It got 200,000 views in 3 days, but some absolute went through every comment that asked what happens next and answered the question. They read that part of the book, figured out what happened next, and replied to every single comment. And that post with 200,000 views that should have made me over $1,000 in that 24-hour period, that post made me $20 on that book. I was pissed, because when you resolve that tension, people don't have a reason to read it. And once you have those scenes, there are a few different formats that you can use to post about it, and to post it on not just TikTok, but on Reels, on YouTube Shorts, on Snapchat. You can do a standard video post where you are holding the book and talking about it, and you're like, oh my God, so this girl just got rejected by this demon rock star, even though she is obsessed with him. Like, you can sit and talk about it like that. What I recommend is talking about it in a casual tone, like you're chatting with somebody over a cup of coffee. That's what gets people invested, and that's what gets them to stick around. And you also want to make sure there's no pause at the beginning. You need a hook right at the beginning that gets people to stay, and that means a big pause where you wait to make sure that your phone is recording, and then you take a breath, and then you introduce yourself. That's gonna f your retention. So don't do that. Start right in with the hook. Start right in with the big thing that's going on. Basically, get to the point. But the other format that I use is the photo carousel mode, otherwise known as slideshows, otherwise known as photo mode, otherwise known as, you know, that thing where people can, you know, that's what I find to be the easiest, because it only takes me a couple hours a month of doing that strategy versus the other strategy. It takes me a couple hours of focused time where I'm going to sit and make the posts on my computer and then download them to my work phone. You don't have to have a separate phone for this. I just use a really, really old iPhone that is my old phone from when I upgraded my phone like 3 years ago, but you can just use the phone that you have now. And you make your TikTok account, or even multiple accounts, and they don't have to be about you. They don't have to be your official author account. They can be what I like to call shadow accounts, which just means that like the name and branding are not affiliated with your name and branding. They are what I call pump and dump accounts. You can pump them up, make them work, and if they start crashing, they start getting shadow banned, you log out of the account, you keep your login information for later on, and you can log back into it later. But it takes me like a couple of hours a month to make all of my content for the month, and I'm not just posting on a couple of accounts. I am posting my contemporary billionaire romance on 4 accounts twice a day, and I'm posting my paranormal romance on 4 more accounts twice a day for this content, but it still only takes me a few hours a month to make this content and to get it set up. So then on a daily basis, all I have to do is, like, while I am sitting and watching a show, or while I'm on the commute to work, because I'm not the one who drives on my way to work, or when I am like trying to dissociate, or when I'm eating my breakfast, that's when I'm gonna sit, I'm gonna open the app, I'm gonna post once on each account, and then like over lunch I'll do the same, or in the evening when I'm sitting and watching a show. I generally post twice a day per account. I never post 3 times a day per account, because there's something about that third time that always gets low views. I don't know what it is. It's probably just TikTok's algorithm saying, oh, if you're posting 3 times a day, you might be a spammer. But then like you post 4 or 5 times a day and the views pick back up. So I never post 3 times a day, but I will post 2 times a day most days, and occasionally I'll post like 4 or 5 times a day, but I'm never just gonna post right at 3 times. And shockingly, the more times per day that you post, as long as your accounts are optimized, they're regularly getting 1,000 views or more, you're gonna make more money the more times you post per day, other than if it's 3 per day. If you post 4 times per day though, you're gonna make more money than posting twice a day. If you're posting 5 times a day, you're gonna make more money than posting 3 or 4 times a day. It compounds. It's literal basic math. If you're getting 1,000 views per video and you're making $50 to $100 a day from doing that, then you're gonna make more money posting, 5 times a day. You're gonna double or even triple that. I literally doubled my income just by going from posting 1 time a day to 2 times a day, and it did not actually double my time investment because of the system that I use to make my content. It does not have to be hard to market your books. If you want my exact streamlined strategy, especially if you want to learn like the slideshow method, or how to like present well on camera and speak well for social media and make this content, don't forget to check out the link in the description so that you can spend a lot more time writing and a lot less time having to market.